Alright, so I've got a land battle replay here featuring the Warriors of Chaos versus Lizardmen. The idea with my Lizardmen army is to use these clever cold ones, the feral cold ones, which are quite good for their cost. They deal a lot of damage. The thing is that they rampage, so I wanted to keep them in kind of a posse with this red-crested Skink Chief on his horned one, and use Focus Instincts to stop them rampaging, because that's an AoE ability that stops units from rampaging. So keep them in a squad, and then I've got, for infantry, some skinks in the front, Saurus spears in the back, and the thunderous one, the ROR Stegodon, who can tank a whole bunch of units by himself, but is a big target. There's the Umbral Tide back here, which is going to be my main anti-large tool. And this Troglodyte also has anti-large, but the main reason I bring him is for the Skink Oracle atop, who has Earthblood and Flock of Doom. Now for the Warriors of Chaos army, it's a lot of infantry, led by 2 foot lords, but with 2 skirmishing horse units on either side. So it's going to be 5 or 4 marauders, it looks like 5. Then there's going to be 3 warriors with the Mark of Tzeentch. Nice and shiny. I didn't use the lighting mod because unfortunately it made this night battle, but that's okay, we'll deal with it, the bright and shiny. So Festus is the Lord, he has his Pestilent Potions, and the only spell he brought is Fleshy Abundance. Then his hero is Harald Hammerstorm, the original hammer wielder of Warhammer himself. I have no undead for him to kill, but he's still going to be a menace with the Bane Shield, Hammer of Harry, and Heroic Killing Blow. And then there are 2 Chaos Warriors with halberds back there, and the horsemen, there are 2 Marauder horsemen and 2 with axes, throwing axes, 1 of each on each side. So to start things off, the horsemen on this side are going to harass and kite back my feral cold ones. It's not a good idea for me to chase because the horsemen are faster, but I'm looking to maybe keep them modest and maybe get some cold ones on either side to surround them or something when they have a lapse in micro or something like that. So then the front lines are getting ready to engage. Those Tzeentch warriors are going to be pretty tanky with those barriers there. So now the Skinks and Marauders are going to clash. We have the Thunderous one going to be supporting in the middle. We'll probably break this Marauder group pretty quick. But the Chaos Forces are kind of focusing more units over here near the Umbral Tide, which are firing some shots into the Marauders. And those shots are anti-large, but they're going to be good against clumped up infantry like that. So it appears that the cold ones on this side actually did catch some of the Marauder Horsemen, as the Tzeentch Warriors connect with the Skink Oracle. The first Thunderbolt just came down from the Thunderous one, who is tanking pretty well over there, even amongst the halberds. But on the far side, the Feral Cold Ones have pushed back the Skirmisher Cav, leaving them an opening to rear charge some of these warriors, as the Oracle casts a Flock of Doom on these Marauders. They're going to break these Skinks, which are doing good for their price point, but Marauders are going to break them, and some Spears are coming in to provide a screen for those Salamanders as they kind of reposition. The Oracle now is fighting some Halberds, which is not ideal for it. But yeah, the Thunderous one is actually okay on these Halberds for a little bit, as long as he doesn't stay forever. He can actually do some work with those lightning bolts. So now the Salamanders are going to try to get as many shots as they can into the flanks of these Halberds, while they still have some time in the pocket there. But these Horsemen come up with their ranged missiles, and could put a real hurting on these important Salamanders. So I'd actually rather have the Skink Oracle here soak up some damage and shoot some missiles back at the Horsemen. I don't want to lose the Oracle, but it's a single entity, and that was a nasty, nasty venom shot. But it's a single entity, so if this Oracle even gets down to like 25% health, it can still do everything it can do at full health. It just gets some debuffs with wounds as it gets lower in health, of course. So now these Lizardmen forces are breaking more and more. These Salamanders were actually caught, and although they are pretty quick, a few models are stuck up in those Halberds. So the massive Warriors of Chaos infantry is pushing forward. We just saw Harald Hammerstorm unleash one of his explosion abilities. So Festus and Harald together are a problem. They are an expensive foot duo together. And these horsemen have put a hurting on the Skink Oracle, but now we've got most of the Salamanders out of there, with save for a few models. So over here, the Thunderous one seems to be doing just fine on its own, and the Halberds are still fighting it. It hasn't lost a lot of health yet, though. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's a lot of buffering with these warriors here, and maybe it's just a beast, which it is. These Thunderbolts are probably displacing these Halberds and killing a lot of models, which really is mitigating the damage it's taking. So that's good over there for the Lizardmen, but over here now it's a bit hairier, with Harry and Festus causing some trouble. Although the Salamanders are completely free now. So part of what makes Festus and Harry such a good duo is Festus's healing. Not only does he have the passive healing AoE around him that he can choose to put on, but he has the fleshy abundance. On top of that, they are both foot characters, meaning they have small hitboxes, and are just both very sturdy. So what's happening here is the forces are kind of splitting up into 3 pockets of combat. The lizards are going to avoid wherever Festus and Harald are, so they're attacking these marauders and horsemen as Festus and Harald take out the feral cold ones over there. And the other pocket of combat is where the thunderous one was tanking about 3 units, but he's gonna come to join the other lizard forces here, seeing that the armies are both thinning out. And there was some stuttering here and there. I think that's because there were some lag spikes in the game, so that's what it looks like here, but it doesn't get too bad. And taking a far out look at the field here, there's a lot of Chaos forces kind of spread about, but it's mainly just Festus and Harald in the center there with some warriors. Now, these horsemen who are out of ammo decided to charge into the Umbral Tide, which is a good move because they can still damage them really good, and that's an important piece that I really need. So the Skink Chief is going to lag his ass in here and help out the Salamanders, and as they go below 50% health, they'll get the Primal Instincts, which increases their stats a little bit. So now all the forces are going to conglomerate over here, because this is the focal point of the battle. The Stegodon needs to get in and break these horsemen, and that he does, as Festus switches over his mode there to healing, and focuses his forces on this center point. He's also going to throw his Pestilent Potions and hit all these lizard forces here for a nice debuff. So the Stegodon is going to turn around after getting an Earth Blood and charge through these warriors to provide more of a screen. And this is what we like to see out of our thunderous Stegodons. So with that, the Salamanders should have gotten out, and they have, with some spears back to block the rest of the warriors there. The warrior forces are going to try to pull together now into one blob, and seeing that for now it's just mainly Festus and Harald and a couple warriors, the Skink Chief is going to get in there, try to pop his abilities and items and do as much damage as he can. But that was a bit of a bold move, because Festus had just overcast Fleshy Abundance, and these 2 characters will really punish this Horned One character. So yeah, even with the Thunderous one there, it's not going to be enough to assist the Red-Crested Skink Chief in not getting dealt with by these 2 heroes. He's already at half health from that. But the Oracle's going to come in and throw down an Earth Blood, so he should come back soon. Now, as the Warriors' forces are trying to get closer together, I am shooting in now, finally with the Oracle, into the Halberds, as the Salamanders shoot into these Marauders, just trying to stop everybody from gathering close together and getting those Festus heals. More shots from the Oracle. That one went right into the Thunderous Ass. Some nice friendly fire. And some more Hammers of Harry, destroying these spears. Now, I have to be careful piling up my infantry on top of the rest of his infantry, because as long as they're around Festus, he could be doing constant AoE damage, and those explosions from Harald are going to add up pretty quick. Now, the balance bar is actually in the favor of Warriors of Chaos a little bit, but as we look around, we see a lot of breaking units for the Warriors, and there's still a lot of forces for the Lizards. It's just that my Lord is about half health, and these 2 characters, Festus and Harry, are full health, and since they're so expensive, they count for a lot on the balance bar. I mean, even alone, they can hold off infantry for a very long time. Together, they're even more of a potent force. The thing is, even though they're very tanky and sustainable, it just becomes a numbers game at some point, especially when I have all these big monsters and a lot of ammunition left. Whereas his mobility and ranged capabilities have both been kind of diminished with the absence of those horsemen now. So the balance bar is about at the middle now, but I just want to see in real time how that balance bar goes down as these ranged attacks start putting a hurting on these 2 lords, or this lord and hero. Flame attacks against Festus just makes sense. Salamanders are going to focus fire on him, and he's not a large unit, but these globs of fiery spit are still going to do a lot of work. And if you notice the health bar is going down, the balance bar is going down with it. So these 2, with their kind of low speed, are just not going to be able to do much at this point. Harry's going to try to raise his shield and block some shots for Festus. He tried his best. And another Fleshy Abundance went down on both of them. But at this point, there's just really not much the Warriors can do. Like I said, at some point it's just a numbers game, you know? And now the balance bar is really reflecting what is actually the case. There's just not much left that the Warriors of Chaos can do with just these 2 foot heroes. But Harry's going to get off one last explosion with his hammer. And I'm just going to use up all the rest of my ammo on Harald now. As the Warriors come in, I'm just going to fast forward as the Warriors of Chaos do surrender, seeing that the battle is over. So yeah, I really think this is an underrated lord, the red-crested Skink Chief. I like his synergy with the Feral Cold Ones, and it's nice to spam them because they're so cheap. So GG to Mountain Brew. It was a cool army there with the 2 characters there leading a massive infantry. It's just that, I don't know, maybe they were lacking a little bit in anti-large. They had a couple halberds and some really good damage with those horsemen. It's just that the horsemen didn't make it that far into the late game, so mobility and range capabilities for them were gone. So my raptors were pretty much all dead. Monsters got pretty good value though. Salamanders got the value I needed them to get. And I didn't really show a ton of what the raptors did. I might have gotten 1 or 2 focus instincts off with my lord to keep them in battle, and that made a slight difference, but they were there to make a lot of rear charges on the warriors and just provide a lot of meat for my army alongside the skinks. They could engage with the slow-moving infantry of my enemy, keeping most of them distant while we surrounded the remaining 2 characters. Now against a different army, like a lot of footsores and like Gorok, his army would have been a lot more potent, I think. I just had a lot of mobility and range tools that he couldn't quite catch up and deal with. So again, well played, and thanks for watching. Have fun out there.